Hi, welcome to Color Concierge, our first video to teach you how to crochet. This video is dedicated to the Brown family because I hope to teach the Brown family women to crochet from across planet Earth. I also have to give major credit to my 12, almost 13-year-old daughter for taking the video and editing and making this look absolutely amazing. So let's get started. How to crochet. You know, something no one ever showed me was how do you start the yarn? How do you access the yarn? So this first video is all about finding the end of the yarn that you have both in your skein and in your hank. I love working from hanks because, well, this is my absolute favorite brand of yarn. The blanket underneath here is all made from this Barocco vintage chunky wool blend. I will use this yarn on every project. I also like, for the softness and the cost, this is much less expensive. It's an acrylic blend. It's Heartland, and it's also really wonderful to work with. So let's get started, and we'll look at both a skein and a hank, which is this like twisted version, how to find the end of your yarn. Let's start with the skein. So when you buy this in the store, you'll notice that you can almost always find the end just kind of hanging off. Sometimes it's tucked under the label. It's probably one of these right in here. But what I want to share with you is that the end that you want to work with is inside the skein. Don't start with the one on the outside because you'll have constant tangles as you're working on your project. So we are going to dig inside either the left or the right and find that what I call the baby. There's like a little chunk of yarn inside this yarn, and we're going to go find that so we can find the end. So I'm just going to dig right in here and pull from the inside. Oh, there it is. That was very easy. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. So this is the little baby. This is perfect. So I'm just going to gently unwind this, and in just a moment I am going to find the end of this yarn, and then it will always pull out. Look, there it is. There we go. So you can start to work with your project from this right here, and then obviously you'll use this up first, but when it comes out of the middle of that skein, it just comes out beautifully. You will have no knots as you're working on your project. Your ball of yarn will not go rolling on you, and it's just really, really wonderful. So I will set this aside now that I've taught you how to find the baby. And now let's take a look at working with a hank. So a hank is simply yarn that is laid down in a loop, and then when it's sold, it's twisted up. So it's just tucked into itself. So we will untwist this. There's our loop. And when you're working with these, you'll notice that they're tied off. So there's a little tiny piece of yarn that ties this off. So I'm going to give that little one a snip. They're easy to find because they're going in a perpendicular direction. Now this one that I chose first, usually there are 2 or 3 of these, but this one has both ends of this yarn. So on this hank, both ends can be found right here. So I just usually snip those off right there. Now I've got the start and I have the finish. Really easy. I'm going to lay those down so I can find them in a second. Peel off the label. And then I'm going to come over here and snip off the other one. This one only has 2 ties. Just set those aside. And by the way, I've heard that you can put these outside because they can be very useful for birds building a nest. I thought that was a really cool recycling idea. Okay, so when you can typically use either one of these, but you gently, gently, gently unravel with one of these, just like I'm doing here. And once I go around, say 4 or 5 times, I've got enough yarn to work with. And I just do it section by section. So what I'm going to do is to make a ball just like you see here. These are really easy to work with. Your yarn never tangles when you work from a ball. That's absolutely the advantage. I prefer to work on my projects using a yarn ball, but you never want to work directly from your hank because it will 100% tangle up on you. So just to get my ball started, I go around 2 fingers very quickly for several rotations, and then I stop and I go the other direction. This doesn't have to be super tight. You actually don't want it to be super tight because you don't want your yarn pulled and stretched. But it's kind of an odd shape to start, but it will even out into a ball over time. So again, I just gently take about 4 or 5 circles here to find a loose amount of yarn. And from that, I work and I wind and I wind and I wind. There are some tools that you can use, wooden tools you typically find in like a yarn shop or a fabric shop that wind your yarn for you. I much prefer to do it by hand, although those are pretty cool. I don't have one, but there's just something kind of pleasing about winding your own yarn by yourself. It's part of the process of making your project. So mine always start kind of lopsided, but they almost always turn out really, really even. We'll do one more round here, and you can see as I go, this kind of evens out into a nice round shape. Those are the things that people never tell you. How to access your yarn, kind of important. So any yarn project, but I really enjoy crochet, and this is the only way that I prefer to work. So we'll just keep going around and around like that, and eventually you'll find that you have a really nice ball of yarn that will never get tangled as you work on your project. So thank you for listening to this introduction video to crochet. Please like this video. We hope this catches on and helps a lot of people. Also subscribe to our channel and set up your notifications. As we post new videos, you'll know what's going on and you'll have the latest. Thanks for watching.